Good day, people. Yes, welcome to another episode of Getting Stoned with your host, Mr. Stone Petoskey. Yeah. Feels so good to be here. Yes, I send all y'all lots of love and positivity and healing. Lots of light, lots of joy, lots of you got this. Yes. And of course I send you a big hug, full of love and light and prosperity, abundance of all things that fill your heart. Yeah. Sometimes life is a struggle. Sometimes you go through strife. Sometimes it hurts. But even in the midst of those moments, it's always good to know that you are loved. Because you are, indeed. It is undeniable. It is irrefutable. It is immeasurable. Indeed. So, feel it in your heart. Feel it in your soul. Play it in your mind like some good rock and roll. Yeah. Well, here we are, y'all. Here we are on this third stone from the sun, spinning in infinite space. Yeah. I was thinking today, like, so is that apple there if I'm not looking at it? You know what I'm saying? Interesting question to ponder on. It's sort of like that Zen koan. It says if a tree falls in the woods and there's nobody around to hear it, does it make a sound? I think one of the things I've learned, and I'm still learning as a matter of fact, is that there's a whole hell of a lot more questions than there are answers. And even though we all really like to have the answers, and we all really like to pretend like we know, the fact of the matter is that the mystery remains far more profound than the facts as we so define them. And that's where wonder comes into it, right? Yes, existing in a state of wonder. Ooh, that's where I'm at, y'all. Try to always maintain that state of wonder. The preciousness, the impermanence, the fear, the anger, those things all want to take you and break you down. So be sure to wonder. Be sure to remain curious, childlike in your enthusiasm to explore the mystery. Yes. Thank you so much for stopping on by. I hope wherever you are that you're feeling the love. I appreciate you listening. I know everybody's got busyness in their life. Probably a whole hell of a lot more so than it would be necessary, but such is the nature of things at this particular time. We can't seem to get ourselves clear of all the drama, all the fighting and the wars and killing of our brothers and our sisters and all of the division that exists. And says my country, your country, my party, your party, My guy is the right guy. Your guy is the wrong guy. All this fussing and fighting seems the humans can't seem to shake the shackles off when it comes to that kind of thing. So here we are. I would offer an invitation for you the next time you find yourself being drawn into all that drama, is that you just pause and you find yourself something to wonder about. You could go in, take a nice deep long breath. You could gaze out at the garden. You could look into the twinkling eyes of a child. You could place your bare feet on the soil. Whatever it is, just wonder. Just pause in wonder before you find yourself unconsciously drawn back into the drama, to the division, to the separation, to the duality. Right on, right on, right on. All right, so let's read a little bit here. This is one of my favorite brothers. This man is, he was a radically hip motherfucker. He, prolific writer, just a madman of the highest order. His name is William S. Burroughs. And there's a kind of a cool film called Naked Lunch. And it's worth a look, man. Yeah. And of course his book, Naked Lunch, probably his most famous piece of literature. Anyways, William S. Burroughs, this is a short little essay called Mind War. Earlier, I have suggested that the CIA, the Russians, and the Chinese have all set up top secret centers to study and apply psychic techniques to political ends. Those of you who have read Psychic Discoveries Behind the Iron Curtain will infer that the Russians are ahead of us. Now, anyone who has lived for any time in countries like Morocco, where magic is widely practiced, has probably seen a curse work. I have. However, curses tend to be hit or miss, depending on the skill and power of the operator and the susceptibility of the victim. And that isn't good enough for the CIA or any similar organizations. Bring us the ones that work, not sometimes, but every time. So what is the logical forward step? To devise machines that can concentrate and direct psychic force with predictable effects. I suggest that what the CIA is or was working on at its top secret Nevada installation may be described as computerized black magic. If Curse A doesn't make it, Curse Program B automatically goes into operation, and so on. I recommend to your attention a book called The Mind Masters by John Rossman. This is ostensibly a fantastic science fiction novel, interesting more for its content than its style, that may well contain some real inside information. The story concerns a researcher who has been disillusioned by his work on Project Pandora, an American psychic training center run by a Colonel Pickett, who is strongly reminiscent of the mad General Ripper in Dr. Strangelove, right down to the cigar. Only he is unloosing psychic warfare rather than nuclear bombs, having convinced himself that this form of warfare is more effective and more easily controlled by elitist objectives. The disillusioned researcher, one Britt St. Vincent, is contacted by Mero, a private institution dedicated to opposing these black magic centers. It should be obvious that only black magic has military applications. After he has been taken to Merrill's secret headquarters, Britt is briefed by Dr. Webster on the purposes of Merrill. Dr. Webster cites an early report by columnist Jack Anderson that the reason the Johnson-Kingston Summit Conference in 1967 at Glassboro, New Jersey was held in such a remote spot was that this was the world's first summit conference on psychic warfare. He recalls for Britt how the CIA, while making an electronic sweep of the U.S. Embassy in Moscow for listening devices, discovered some very unusual electromagnetic emanations pulsing through the building. Later, it came out that the Soviets had stepped up the power to a point where embassy officials and their families were in danger from the high voltage microwave radiation, which can cause confusion, migraines, and even death. Not long after, the CIA confirmed that this was in fact part of a much larger psychic attack on the embassy. When the Defense Department launched its top secret psychic counterattack, according to the columnist Anderson, it was codenamed Project Pandora. Dr. Webster goes on to tell Britt, Glassboro wasn't the end of it, Britt, obviously. By easily diverting funds within their mammoth defense budgets, small groups of super militarists here and in Russia covertly continued psychic programs. The violent student rioting in the late 60s was largely instigated by electronic mood control devices that were derived from the psychic discoveries of Project Pandora. The riots, it is now evident, were the first phase of a massive plot. The students were used by the U.S. military extremists for two purposes. First, the riots tended to discredit the student causes. Second, the civil disturbances conveniently provided the plotters with the necessary reasons to reinstate some of their psychic weapons programs under the guise of crowd control research. Britt learns that similar secret psychic research is still advancing rapidly in China, France, Israel, Egypt, South Africa, and Chile, in addition to the United States and Russia. Although these scattered groups are currently working to beat each other to the secretive powers that will give them world control, there is a good possibility that they could even now join forces and make a combined psychic bid for world control. And at this moment, they appear to stand an almost even chance of succeeding if they join forces. And what would the future look like if such groups actually exist, and if they do combine and take over? An elitist world state, very much along the lines laid down by the Nazis. At the top would be a theocracy trained in psychic control techniques implemented by computerized electronic devices that would render opposition psychologically impossible. Entry to this privileged class would be permitted only to those whose dedication to the world state was absolute and unquestioning. In short, you don't get in by merit or ability, but by being an all-around 100% shit. Under this ruling elite of power addicts would be an anonymous service collective of functionaries, managers, and bureaucrats. And below them, the slave workers. There would be no place for dissent or independent research. The troublesome artist would be eliminated or absorbed. The elite lives happily ever after at the top of a control state that makes 1984 seem cozy and nostalgic. William S. Burroughs, Mind War. Now, I don't know when Mr. Burroughs wrote that short little essay. I'm going to guess it was in the 60s. In any case, it was some time ago, before I was born, before maybe some of you were born. So the point is, here we are all these years later, and that sounds like goddamn prophecy to me. This world we're living in right now, if that didn't make you quake in your boots, I sure as hell don't know what would. There's some madcap, crazy, absolutely fundamentally insane motherfucking shit going on in this world, man. And these, what I call powers that shouldn't be, have ramped up their game in a big way these last handful of years. So, my 2 cents on that kind of thing, first and foremost, do not comply, man. Stand in your truth. Resonate in love. Do not be afraid. Do not comply. In the end, love does win. It's undefeated, y'all. Woo! Oh, yeah. Big hug out to all y'all. Come on up in here for it. Big hugs. Yes. Yes. Feel it now. There's nothing to be afraid of, y'all. Nothing. The fear is going to try to fuck with you. And the way you can stop the fear fucking with you is to know that fear is not who you are. Ever. Ever. Yeah. All right. So we're going to do a little poetry reading here. This is brother. I've read some of his poems on the show before. So we're coming back to it again. This gentleman's name is Kenneth Rexroth. His mind power, his ability to just, had to just be like, I'm saying probably a genius, because I'm holding his poems, his complete poems in my hand, and this damn thing is like 750 pages long. I'm not fooling, man. This brother, a major talent. Mr. Kenneth Rexroth. So let's see here. What do we got? This poem is entitled "Blood on a Dead World." A blowing night in late fall. The moon rises with a nick in it. All day, Mary has been talking about the eclipse. Every once in a while, I go out and report on the progress of the Earth's shadow. When it is passing the half, Martha and Mary come out and we stand on the corner in the first wisps of chilling fog and watch the light go out. Streamers of fog reach the moon but never quite cover it. We have explained with an orange, a grapefruit, and a lamp. Not that we expect a 4-year-old child to understand. Just as a sort of ritual duty. But we are surprised. The Earth's shadow is like blood, she says. I tell her the Indians called an eclipse blood on the moon. It's all the blood on Earth makes the shadow that color, she asks. I do not answer. I thought it was pretty synchronistic when I opened up the book here to this poem, because the total eclipse was just a few days ago, and I was lucky enough to observe it, and yeah. Blood on the moon. All right, let's read another one here. We got this one titled Quietly. Lying here quietly beside you, my cheek against your firm, quiet thighs, the calm music of Boccherini washing over us in the quiet as the sun leaves the housetops and goes out over the Pacific. Quiet. So quiet the sun moves beyond us. So quiet as the sun always goes. So quiet our bodies worn with the times and the penances of love. Our brains curled, quiet in their shells, dormant. Our hearts slow, quiet, reliable in their interlocking rhythms. The pulse in your thigh caressing my cheek. Quiet. I told you this brother was no joke. Mr. Kenneth Rexroth. Let's read one more. This one is called The Bad Old Days. The summer of 1918, I read The Jungle and The Research Magnificent. That fall, my father died and my aunt took me to Chicago to live. The first thing I did was to take a streetcar to the stockyards. In the winter afternoon, gritty and fetid, I walked through the filthy snow, through the squalid streets, looking shyly into the people's faces, those who were home in the daytime, debauched and exhausted faces, starved and looted brains, faces like the faces in the senile and insane wards of charity hospitals, predatory faces of little children. Then, as the soiled twilight darkened, under the green gas lamps and the sputtering purple arc lamps, the faces of the men coming home from work, some still alive with the last pulse of hope or courage, some sly and bitter, some smart and silly, most of them already broken and empty. No life, only blinding tiredness, worse than any tired animal. The sour smells of 1,000 suppers of fried potatoes and fried cabbage blend into the street. I was giddy and sick, and out of my misery, I felt rising a terrible anger. And out of the anger, an absolute vow. Today, the evil is clean and prosperous, but it is everywhere. You don't have to take a streetcar to find it. It is the same evil. And the misery and the anger and the vow are the same. Yeah. Mr. Kenneth Rexroth, thank you, my brother. Thank you for breaking it down in a beautiful, poetic kind of way. Nothing touches it. Indeed. Plant your seed. Do not succumb to the greed or the need to be liked. None of that shit matters. Be true to you. Don't be a fool or a tool. Yes, one love, y'all. All right, let's do a tune before we bust on out of here. Yeah. This one, I've done this one before. I just gonna do it again. Because that's how it is, man. This is a song called Angela, and it's by the Lumineers. Left this town with your windows down and the wilderness inside. The exits pass on tar and glass and the rolling skyline. The strangers in this town raise you up, cut you down. Angela, it's a long time coming. Over lights look green and white in the city on the signs. You held your course to some distant walls in the corners of your mind. The second time around, the only love I ever found, Angela. It's a long time coming. Hold me late. You're safe and warm in your coat of arms and your fingers in a fist. Did you hear those notes, all those static codes in the radio biz? The strangers in this town raise you up and cut you down. Angela, it's a long time coming. Angela, took your whole life running away. Hold me late. Hold me late. Vacancy, hotel rooms, lost to me, lost in you. Angela, I'm on my knees, I belong, I believe I'm home and late. Hold me land, hold me land. I just find that song to be so damn beautiful. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. Music is life. Oh my goodness gracious. Thank the Lord for music. Yes. I appreciate you taking your time to come on by here and give a listen to this humble little show of mine. So, until next time, this is Stone Petoskey saying peace.